Hello again, this is Media Center Ukraine Odessa. We have the second briefing focused on the mobile shelters. Ilya Blokhin will speak about it, and I'm giving him the floor, please. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak here today on the issue that our charitable fund started at SafePlace4UA project. We started in July, and we focused on the issue on fundraising for such shelters. In April, we gained experience from Israel because it is at war as long as it exists. We learned their experience, and after the incidents in the early July in Vinnytsia and Kremenchuk, when we saw people who couldn't find a shelter to hide from the debris and missiles, we decided to launch the campaign. What is Safe Place here? This is the emergency campaign on life-saving of civilians by providing them the street shelters. In July, at the order of the charitable fund, we designed a project. The authors of the project were based on the Israeli experts because they have the similar program since 2006, and statistically it cuts the lethal issues by 70%. So we provided funds to design the first shelter. It was financed by Interhim enterprise. It was installed on the 23rd of September in Mykolaiv. Today we have already the second shelter, which also goes to Mykolaiv this week. It was financed by Nova Poshta. Why it is Mykolaiv? We realize that Mykolaiv is the southern forepost of Ukraine. Many civilians die there this day from cassette bombs, and we placed the first shelter in the Korabel district of Mykolaiv, and it was placed in the place where on the 28th of July 8 civilians were killed, over 15 were injured from debris and from the walls and from tile. Today Mykolaiv needs 33 shelters. We have the letter from the Mayor Sienkiewicz to provide 10 shelters, and now we're looking for financing to produce this 10 shelters. So our final target is 1,000 shelters of such kind, not only in Mykolaiv, but in Odessa, Poltava, Kyiv, and every possible city of Ukraine. We don't know what is coming next. So as the old wisdom says, if you want the peace, be ready for the war. But according to what our authorities say, these shelters will be needed closer to Kherson, to the Crimea. It will be needed there. Well, this is the briefing. This is to sum up what I was going to say. Is there anyone who have questions as for these mobile shelters? I have a question concerning such shelters, why Odessa didn't get any, and there are rumors that the local authorities were against that. Is that true, and is this issue addressed now? Speaking about Odessa, the first shelter that was produced was the weight of it was about 70 tons, and it could place about 20 people. It was too heavy to transport it to a distant places where it took a really big effort to transport it to Mykolaiv. It was produced and designed in Odessa, and I sent the letter to the head of the military administration and asked to facilitate its installation in one of the parks of Odessa, and we believed it was the park of Pobieda. The nearest shelter is pretty far away. It is the parking lot at some residential complex. It takes lots of time, and but Odessa hasn't determined yet where to place such constructions. There is the legislation collision that it is unclear what kind of construction it is. It can be the new architectural form, and to place this small architectural form in the park, it takes a long procedure, especially during the wartime. In response to the letter of our letter, the regional administrations determining the places to install such shelters. For example, Ismail has determined 6 spots like that. They have to go through certain procedures and should be determined by the city council. Usually this is the places near the bus stops. Speaking about Odessa, I wrote a letter from the charitable fund about the shelters to the name of Odessa mayor, but got no answer until now. When we have the list of places where it can be installed, our foundation, other foundations and other companies are ready to work with that, and the city can order it. But we have to consider the places. Well, given the characteristics of your shelters and with your debris injuries, we speak here about the people who are trying to find cover from artillery and shelling. So they would be more beneficial in Bakhmut and Kramatorsk, in some Donbas cities that are closer to the front line. Have the representatives of the local authorities of those regions, of some activists of those regions, with a request to provide such shelters. Yes, we had a request from Bakhmut. Well, let's put it like that. It is not fortification facility, because fortification facilities have some different characteristics. In the first place, it is the shelter for civilians. An example from Mykolaiv. There is a cassette bomb, and it takes you only 10 seconds to hide. Then cassettes start falling down, and there are debris flying around. Last month, 3 people died standing at the bus stop due to the debris around. So this shelter is for civilians in the first place. When there is the fortification facility, it has to stand the hits of tanks. No, I mean the citizens, the civilians from those cities I mentioned, that the cities that are being shelled by artillery. So that's a matter of logistics, because you can produce it, but it's so difficult to ship it to the place, and it's all about the cost of it. So please, if anyone has the questions. There were the photos of these mobile shelters that are produced by the contractors and the charity. We will disseminate them among the journalists that were present at the briefing. If there are no more questions, I wonder how mobile these shelters are. if the front is moving toward Kherson, is it possible to move them from Mykolaiv to Kherson? Yes, they are very mobile. They're monolithic, and everything is monolith, and it weighs about 40 tons. Let's say it's quite a lot, but this is due to armored and reinforced concrete, and the top plates give this huge weight as a result, but they can be moved to any distance. They will be moved to Mykolaiv from Odessa in the nearest week. So such construction of 40 tons is going to be shipped from Odessa to Mykolaiv this week. So the thing is, the design of it and 25 width of the walls and the 30 centimeters of the top plate, it results in really high weight of this construction. We have various designs for the constructions of, let's say, 18 tons, but we question how efficient they are, how the heat wave affect them. And another question, two things I'd like to clarify. You said that Mykolaiv needs 33 shelters like that, while the mayor asked only 10. And the shelters for Odessa, you said that you addressed your letters to the mayor's office and to the military administration, but got no response. We wrote the letter for them to determine the places to install such shelters. Speaking about the military administration, they sent the letters through their vertical, so they determined the places in the communities. But speaking of Odessa, we still have no answer. Thank you. I believe these are all questions for today. Thank you for being with us, for listening to the briefings. We'll see you next time and several times. Follow our announcements on social media and the website.